Good morning, everybody, and welcome to episode 0000050. This is a very special 50th anniversary episode, and I'm a pretty big, anybody that knows me knows I love those 80s sitcoms, and every now and then you just had to have a little clip show, just because there's some sort of milestone or there's something that you're trying to, I don't really know, but it seemed like an opportunity for a clip show. Hard part is I don't really know how to make a clip show. So what I'm going to do is go through all 49 of our first episodes and just kind of give you some of my takeaways. So I'm going to have to do them pretty quickly because with 49 episodes, I've never been great at math, but if I took 1 minute per, that would be 49-minute episode, and that's a little bit long. On that note, for anybody who's been on the show or has listened/watched, they've always heard that it's a 30-minute show. And the running joke is it always goes past 30 minutes. And I think it's one of my guests, I can't remember who it was, but they had mentioned before the show that one thing that is interesting in human nature is it really takes that first 30 minutes to warm up the brain and start locking in a little bit. So what I've learned over time is that really after that first 30 minutes is where stuff really gets interesting and why it drags on for a little bit. So with that, I think I want to give a little bit more monologue. This show is 100% unscripted, 100% under/unprepared. There's something kind of fun and exciting about that and terrifying. But it also makes it a little bit easier just to hop on and just have a loose running conversation that takes a little bit of mental energy. The impetus of this show was a brainchild out of probably 5 years ago. Some of my guests who have been on are people that I had Zoom conversations with during COVID, and we just had really great, deep conversations about business, life, design, all these different things. And there was always kind of we'd always end the conversation like, man, this would be a great podcast. So the idea was born just to have interesting people have hopefully somewhat interesting conversations. And then it took about 3 years for me to actually finally do that. And the format that you see now is a result of honestly, simply just trying to make something, just trying to bring something to the world. I think there was probably 2, maybe 3 years of analysis paralysis. What is this thing? What's the mission? What's the theme? What's all the stuff? And I didn't really know. Not necessarily, not trying to sell anything. There's no real motive other than hopefully trying to bring something interesting to the world that, is there for forever and maybe provide some sort of entertainment value or maybe some sort of intellectual value. Who knows? But on that note, I'm going to try and do a little bit of this screen sharing action and just walk you through for anybody that missed. Let's see, how do I do this? I need to go full screen layout here, and then I need to show me. There's my face. I'm just going to go episode by episode. I'm going to walk you guys through the origin story and what I think was really cool about the episodes. But episode 1, so Sarah Parks came on. She is our director of design at LivCo. She was very brave and jumped on the show for the first ever LivLive. We were still figuring it out, to say the least. We weren't even on StreamYard then. I think I did it like through a Google Meet and then like an open source streaming software. So it was a little bit bumpy, but it worked, and Sarah was awesome. And we really had a good time kind of talking through what I think is somewhat cool and special about what LivCo does and our process. After that, Scott jumped on. So Scott's our director of construction. He's like, all right, I'm down for this. Scott was just really fun to have on. He's drank the LivCo Kool-Aid. He loves just kind of the unique and special projects that we do, coming from a world of new home building and all of that, and just understanding the fun that he has working with a team that it's something new every day, and a really cool origin story. Then episode 3, holy cow, we got Russ on. So Russ is my business partner. So Russ and I founded LivCo 14 years ago now, and started out working, meeting each other, working for a developer in Libertyville. I was director of design. He was director of construction. And, over evening beers, we kind of had this brainchild that, while architecture and construction often kind of butt heads, we were really talking about the same thing. We just came at it from 2 different directions. And so our end goal was aligned, and we just had to figure out, like, I think if we actually work together, this could be something pretty cool, which is, what you see today in the evolution of LivCo. So those are the first 3 guests. So those were LivCo team members, owners, directors. And then we kept it going with Anna, who is our director of interiors. So I guess we did 4 episodes with Team LivCo, and Anna lives in a world of interior design, selections management, material procurement, cabinetry design. It is a crazy, crazy world, and such a huge, important part of executing the project to make stunning projects, super happy clients, and make sure that they're efficiently built. Anna was our first interior design hire. Sarah worked for us before Anna, and Sarah and I both managed selections very poorly. As a trained architect, we did not really realize the complexities, nuances, and amount of work and energy that has to go into interior design and selection. So that was invaluable, and Anna was awesome. All right, then we switched to the crazy Dave colleague network. So Ross Barney is the son of Carol Ross Barney, whose firm is Ross Barney Architects. But Ross lives in Colorado, and runs Tumu Studio with his wife, and does really exceptional boutique design work, both residential and commercial, and really special. And it was really fun to talk to Ross. He was definitely one of those folks that I connected with throughout COVID, and always just great to hear his perspective, and working on really special little boutique projects and then super high-end projects. But there's always a high level of design and precision and creativity that goes into it. It's a lot of fun. Then we kept the architect train going. So Scott Evanston, my buddy, classmate, owner of C Studio in Dewey Beach, Delaware, just doing unbelievable stuff. And then also teamed up with another one of our buddies and classmates, Dave Schlecht, who runs their Philadelphia office as well. Scott's done just really cool creative work throughout kind of the coastal areas, and just a super fun, smart, interesting guy who also happened to be one of the Hokie birds when we were at Virginia Tech. So love meeting people that have this, dynamic personality of brilliant design, creative, business leaders, and then also hilarious. So thank you, Scott. And then Jeremy stepped up to the plate. Jeremy, my buddy with Axis down in Texas. Jeremy kind of called me out. It was a really fascinating episode. I think it was like 30 minutes in or so. Jeremy's like, what is this show? Like, what are you doing? And he's like, who watches this? And I didn't really have too much of an answer, but I'm like, I don't know. We're just rolling with it, man. And I call him a modern stoic, and it's still in his head. He just does not consider himself a stoic, which I would vehemently disagree. His emotional intelligence and even-keeled nature and level of curiosity and wanting to learn is I envy. It was very cool. And then we took it to Paul McManus. Paul, brilliant thought leader in the world of design, build, remodeling, runs McManus Kitchen and Bath down in Tallahassee, Florida. Paul, always awesome to talk to. He's always full of opinions. He always loves the battle, but he's also, a constant learner. He's always trying to improve and learn and read and test new things, and always super fun to talk to him. Yes, and then Zach. So Zach, our buddy from Alloy in Charlottesville. Zach, you were the man. Zach kind of runs the construction side of Alloy in Charlottesville, Virginia. Does Really cool, kind of forward thinking stuff. He's always trying to improve systems and processes, and crazy smart guy, and always fun to talk to Zach as well. Then Kim came on the show. So Kim is married to Sean, and they run Park and Patina down in Orlando, Florida. So Kim was a lot of fun because we kind of talked about the design side of things and growing a small business, as well as a husband and wife ownership team, which is really fun. So Kim stepped up to the plate, and it was really good connecting with her there. And then Greg came on the show. Greg has a pretty significant multi-generational operation out in San Diego, and is just a wealth of knowledge, and just always doing really cool stuff. He's part of one of our phone groups that Brian Sebring put together, and we meet every couple weeks, and really lent like a lot of interesting insights in the evolution of a company handed down over generations. Our buddy David Hercules came on from over there in St. Louis with the awesome guitar collection. And then, yeah, while we talked about, the design build world and Hercules design build, it wasn't until the end that he mentioned that he actually wrote an article on Kurt Cobain and met Kurt Cobain like in the early 90s. So we ran out of time and we didn't get to dig into that. So we're gonna have Dave back on to talk through that. Then we got out of the design build ownership group, and we got Allie Root came on, which was really cool because she just finally released her feature film that she has been developing for, I think, over a decade. Prickly Mountain and My Design Build Life, I believe, is the title. I have not seen it yet. It has been at numerous film festivals. I know Sarah and some of the design team were able to see the premiere in Chicago, and I hear it is unbelievable. And so excited to have Allie on, talk about the film, talk about her life in Prickly Mountain, and that whole world of David Sellers and those crazy architects just building stuff. That was a lot of fun. Thank you, Allie. Then our buddy Greg came on, which reminds me, I'm supposed to be back on his show at some point. We had to cancel. Greg is a phenomenal leader, educator, coach, works for Remodelers Advantage, works with design managers, works with project managers, runs his own podcast. And then it was really fun digging in a little bit and realizing that he also studied at the Prickly Mountain School. Tomorrow, I can't remember the name of it. This is a live show, and it's unrehearsed and unscripted. But yeah, there was a lot of interesting connections between kind of that Northeast 1960s, 1970s design build mentality and the working of the hands that I discovered talking to Greg, which connects to Allie's world. And then also Paul McManus also studied there, which was really interesting. So all of a sudden there was all these dots connecting. It was very intriguing. So Matt and Becky came on. Matt and Becky from Rough Bones. Love you guys. They have been doing our project photography and videography for years. Super creative, fun, good people, align with all of our core values, and just love kind of finding and presenting the LivCo vibe, which is really cool. Like I've talked to people about hiring social media and marketing teams, and when you outsource that, to me it's just really important that it's someone that kind of aligns with us and understands us. And Matt and Becky are unbelievable at that. And I think a lot of the stuff we talked about was marketing based, and as we kind of get into topics of AI and all of that stuff, one of the really big takeaways was how important authenticity is in what we do, and how if you're real about stuff and carry that authenticity and that real creativity, you will rise above kind of the vanilla that's determined by a lot of the AI tools. So that was a lot of fun for sure. Oh yeah, I need to hover over it so you guys can see. Yeah, that was a unique one too, because we did it in the conference room. I was in the Chicago office, and we tested doing kind of a talk show style. Might have to try that again sometime. Then my buddy Brad came on. Brad is at HOK now. Before that, we worked together at Getch Partners, and before that, we worked together at Arc Ideas. Brad is was able to mold my brain in my early design career on the whole idea of systems and processes and full documentation of it. So much of what our company is trying to do now is take all of the stuff that we've done over the last 14 years and piled it into the garage, and then take it out of the garage, reorganize it, make it visible, and really clean up systems and processes and full documentation of them now that we've kind of figured out how we do things. Brad was doing that at Arc Ideas back when I started working there 20, I guess almost 25 years ago. And he's just an incredible person. And you'll see in a lot of these other episodes, there does become a lot of topics, especially, in the last one with George, the topic of, the systems and the processes will set you free. So Brad went to architecture school, became an IT director, and his entire mantra is kind of based on, if you just follow the rules in the system, that allows more room for creativity in your actual design work. So that is always great. Brad, we're gonna have you on again. That was also cool because Brad working for a major firm like HOK, he had to make sure he got clearance to be on the podcast from all the lawyers. So I thought that was pretty neat. Made me feel like a big deal. All right, Todd Coolman. Todd is the only one to have 2 episodes. He demanded it, and it was the best. Todd is one of the most fun, creative, interesting architects I've ever worked with. He is a design genius of sorts, just a really brilliant mind. We worked together at Optima. He was taught and worked with David Hovey, I think, pretty much from freshman year at Optima. Freshman year at IIT, he was, being taught by David Hovey, and then David Hovey's company, Optima. Todd worked there most of his career. So a wealth of knowledge in design, build, development, and building stuff. And at the end, he kind of talked about the baseball stadium project he's working on for IIT. So that's why we had to continue into episode 2, where we had to really dig into what that was. So he was able to kind of present what he's working on there, and it was really fun. And Todd just needs to be one of those recurring characters, because he is indeed a character. We love you, man. I know you're watching right now. Then we had a fun one. We had the design team on. So we did kind of we talked through the design team, and I believe we actually walked through a project design and just kind of talked through it. I think we'll have to we were going to try and do one of those a couple weeks ago, but everyone's been so doggone busy, it was hard to pull it together. But that was really fun to kind of share how our team works and thinks and shapes stuff. Everything we do in design is 3-dimensional. We're doing sketching on the side, but really collectively, when we shape these things together as a team, it's really cool. Oh yeah. Then we had the mobile version too. All right, then we mixed it up. My nephew, Charlie Wraith, came on the show. He is a former Notre Dame hockey player, played 4 years at Notre Dame, which, would be high level Division I hockey. And what kind of the theme was, obviously, was talking a little bit about that path, but it was more about his transition into the real world of business, coming from such a high level, disciplined, life of 20 years, going from, first learning the game of hockey all the way through playing high level, and all the lessons learned in that, and how you do apply those to the real world. And I think some really big takeaways that were cool about that. I mean, there's so much of it, which was great. But one is, he is prepared very well for the real world, almost too well, because his level of discipline and focus is unparalleled amongst not just today's generations, but probably most generations. But also, keeping fun involved. That's a big thing in youth sports and travel sports is don't forget the fun. And that's really something that, is an important life lesson that, we got to have fun along the way to continue to be passionate and enjoy doing it. So Charlie, that was awesome, man. Then this said it was Rob, but Rob called in the whole production team. So we had our construction team on the show, which was really fun and I think unique to hear some of their perspectives, to try and ask questions about, what's the craziest thing that we've ever had to build, and hear all their answers. But that was really fun. I appreciate all those guys coming on. All right. Then we had my buddy Aaron on, and Aaron, I don't know why it's not doing the preview. Here we go. Aaron, I guess he was on vacation on that, or maybe that was just his Zoom background. But Aaron, great friend of ours, of our families, lives in Chicago. He is a consultant now. He has AG Design Works, which offers BIM consulting for kind of high-level construction and design firms. And prior to that, we both worked at Optima together and also Getch Partners. Aaron is an institution in the world of Chicago architecture and forward thinking, and just a great guy and a lot of fun to have him on the show. Then we switched back to the world of design build and had Ian on, and Ian is from TDS up in Madison, Wisconsin. Ian is the production manager, general manager up there, and he is always moving the pieces around, trying to find places for improvement, and has a very unique way of driving the company and looking at stuff. He loves numbers. He loves all of that stuff, and so Ian was really cool to have on. All right, Eric. Eric was the man. Eric and I worked together at Getch. We didn't have a whole lot of overlap. Maybe a year or two, something like that. But then Eric spun off after working for in some sales for some other companies, and then started building restaurants. So he started with his first one. It was just kind of a passion project, brainchild. Got together with some partners, I believe. And still, like, one of my favorite takeaways is he found the spaces. He started with the spaces and then tried to understand what they could be. So as you see, the one in his background is a really unique kind of bowstring truss space. So in his world of hospitality and all the Wheaton restaurants that he owns and runs now, it was kind of interesting that the inspiration came from walking into the initial space and then designing the restaurant and the experience for that space, which is really cool. There's also another theme that you see, which is people who were architects that started doing different stuff. Oh, Phil was so gracious to come on. Let's see, where's my preview here? Phil's a man. I'm sure he doesn't remember meeting me, but Phil is an author. He worked for Revit before Autodesk bought Revit and was there part of the transition. So he is a brilliant mind, and originally went to a seminary. So he sees everything kind of through a really cool, religion, philosophical lens, which I really love. Like, he has a really brilliant conceptual way of thinking, and he's just really fun to talk to. And I mean, we could have talked all day. Just the most chill, yet intelligent, brilliant guy. Then we had Zach on again, so I guess we did have Zach on twice. All right, cool. Yeah, I don't remember what we dug into on the second one and what was variable there, but Zach is always awesome to have on. Okay, now things got crazy. So Adam Reed Tucker came on the show, and this was over Christmas. I was building with Legos, and I just felt like there was maybe there's an underlying theme of the show and creating this whole thing that was associated with the whole idea of making, kind of the maker culture. And Adam was an amazing Lego brick master. He was an architect that then started building these incredible Lego creations, and then was commissioned to build Lego skyscrapers throughout Chicago. And then I believe the story goes, Lego sent him like cease and desist to stop. And then they were like, what are we doing? And then they flew over and met with him. And actually he became the first, I think, Lego certified designer or something like that, and designed the Lego architecture series. So in that clip, you see him holding Lego Falling Water. He designed that set amongst, I don't know, probably 20 other ones, and now has his own smaller scale brick company of unbelievable brick creations that you can buy and build. Really fun talking to him. I was just enamored. I was kind of starstruck that he came on. Super brilliant, down to earth guy that, what a story behind everything that he's created, and kind of that journey and working with Lego. And then being constrained by the Lego kits actually having to be efficiently manufactured and sold, versus the original model for Falling Water was way more sophisticated. It's kind of wild. And he kind of felt like in some ways his creative vision was constrained by the whole idea that we need to sell these kits to kids that can be able to be built somewhat easily. Just incredible. Hopefully I can get Adam back on, because he's really a brilliant mind, and see how everything's going there. So then we had some after lives. We'll have to bring that back. Sarah and I on Fridays, every now and then, we've kind of tried to jump on and recap the week's episodes, but sometimes that gets a little bit difficult to do with everything going on and travels. But then we were able to have Chris Lawton and Micah Stanley on, which was really fantastic. On that note, Christopher's mom, Sharon, just recently passed away. She's an unbelievable woman, and pass on our condolences to Christopher and the family. Really special woman, and we're super sorry to hear that. But Chris and Micah run Micah Stanley Architects, and they've done some unbelievable work, including the restaurants Grace and Ever. And then Ever ended up as a pretty intense character and background in the movie The Bear. It's an unreal space, and it was really fun talking to them, running a boutique firm, and the level of detail and precision and feeling and experience and function that goes into designing spaces like that. Really great people. Chris and I were also classmates and traveled Europe together in college, and then we were roommates in Chicago. So yeah, long history there. Great people. Yeah, and then we had some, so there we go on the afterlive. There's Ever behind me. Kind of talked through that. Sarah and her husband have actually eaten at Ever. So we kind of talked through that experience and how special it is. Our buddy Joe came on. I don't even know how far we are on this. Episode 29. So we're getting there. Only 20 more left before this episode wraps. Joe and I have never actually worked together at a firm, but known each other for decades through friends and colleagues. And he is a cultural architectural institution across Chicago firms. He's a master team builder, and really smart, intelligent, funny guy. And it's fun to talk through his world. I think one of my biggest takeaways from Joe was the evolution of the culture of Chicago architecture firms, and how he's managed that. Because with so many firms, it used to be so many firms were based in Chicago and then expanded out to other cities. The old school Chicago architecture firm culture would be considered a little bit hard-nosed, and they had to ease up a little bit once they started working with firms in other cities like San Francisco or some other places. So that firm culture is probably a little bit more worldly now than it used to be, which is really interesting. And Joe's been a huge part of that in building out offices in the city of Chicago. Adam Steiner came on. Adam's in Indiana, just awesome guy. Has his own podcast that I've been on a couple times. And he does home designs. And it was really fun to talk about new construction versus remodeling in that world. And I think our biggest takeaway quote was, everyone has it backwards. Everyone thinks like designing a remodel should be $1,000 and designing a new home should be $5,000. It's like, no, the new home should be $1,000 and the remodeling job should be $100,000. It is way harder to design uh, uh, remodels than it is new construction. So it was kind of neat, um, having those conversations with them, and just really fun talking about design and the world of home building and all that stuff. I guess I didn't do my hover overs. Need to remember to do that. Then Ben came on. Ben is the owner of TDS up in Madison, Wisconsin. So we had Ian from his group on earlier in the season, and Ben was just really really a great conversation, and his kind of personal evolution in going from a carpenter to a general manager to then buying the company from the previous owner, Sam. Just a really, really fun, insightful journey. A lot of gap in the gain, a lot of lessons learned, a lot of you know ideas of continuous improvement and get better every day. Ben's the man. Okay, so this one was really fun. We had Nor Boyle on. Nor kind of has had two roles on the show. One, she's a former client of ours. So she and her husband and their three children, we did a massive project to their house, which was a second story addition on their home in Western Springs, and it was really fun, kind of talking through her experiences as it relates to our team on that, both the good and the bad, but at the end, all good, right? She and her family just love it, and it was a fun. They got to know us really well, and they're part of the LivCo family now. Then she also works for James Hardy, so we had some really cool conversations on what's going on in the world of James Hardy and their now acquisition of Timber Tech, and the really impressive technologies and efforts they're putting towards really really helping to improve and drive the products that shape the exteriors of our homes, which obviously is a big deal to forward thinking design build companies like LivCo. Very cool. Thank you for doing that, Nor. Now we're getting deep. So Yuhan came on the show. I met Yuhan. Let me see if I have the widescreen version. So I met Yuhan at the International Builders Show. I was on a panel discussion there on technology, and he came up afterwards and introduced himself. And I was actually running to the airport, and we talked the entire way on the way to my Uber to get to the airport. And I said, we have to stay in touch. And we have. And he came on the show, which was really fascinating. He works in spatial AI. So while there's so much in the world of AI, large language models, he was kind of an early developer in the world of spatial AI as it related to sports analysis. And now he's trying to explore and understand how that can benefit the world of building and remodeling. So really fun to talk through that. In this clip, obviously, you can see that I used my hands a lot. And we'll have to have you on again, because this was, I don't know, 6 or 7 months ago. And so much has already happened in the world of AI since then. And I was fortunate to see Yuhan again at the NARI conference over the spring, and we were able to catch up and have dinner and all that. And just a great guy, brilliant mind, really fun. Oh, Todd Hansen came on. So from Quarterson and Minneapolis, Todd is a director of experiences. It was a really, really fantastic conversation. Director of experiences, he kind of drives the success of the client experience, as well as all the employees at Quarterson. One of my biggest takeaways that my team hears about all the time is the write it down, circle it, point to it. So often we come up with policies or a system and we write it down, and then we present it to the company and we talk about it, we circle it. But what we're missing is to continually point to it. So core values would be an example. Okay, we developed our core values, we've written them down, we're going to present them to the team, we circle them, and then they just kind of go in a drawer somewhere. So it's had my leadership team and me thinking about what are these mechanisms we can do to have a cadence towards pointing towards all these things that are really important in driving the company. Really fun conversation. Oh, my man Michael came on. Michael Anschel, I think everybody knows who Michael is. He is a thought leader in the industry. Does JLC. I mean, he's a speaker all over the place as it relates to construction means and methods, construction technology, construction performance, building performance, and just an awesome, fun mind to talk to. He also runs a design build company. I think I stumped him a little bit when I asked him, does the rest of, with all that you give to the world of construction and all of us and the podcasts and the speaking engagements and all that, does your team ever feel neglected? And I think his answer is like, yeah, they probably do. But he is just a wealth of knowledge and a really great person and fun to talk to. We'll have to get him back. Nick was really fun to have on. Nick has recently founded MBVC Collective in Richmond, Virginia. Nick and I went to Virginia Tech Architecture School together, and he was a year ahead, and he was just always working. He is always trying to improve. The passion for making and building things and always bringing stuff to the world with Nick is palpable, and it's exciting to hear what he's working on now, which relates to bringing design to the world in a non-profit framework. It was very fun. David Supple came on. David, you're the man. David is one of the biggest advocates and proponents of the world of design build that I know of. His story is really fascinating from the standpoint of he went to architecture school and then went and worked for an architect, and he didn't know how to build stuff. And so I've always loved his metaphor. It's like someone going to chef school and then working in a restaurant, but had never actually cooked anything. And so he's like, so I didn't last very long there. I was fired because I didn't know what I was doing. And then he went to work in construction to try and learn it. And then through that route, he created New England Design and Construction. And he's a writer. He's an advocate for the design build model. And I think he comes at it more from the side of architects should build more, not that everyone should be design build, but similar to my mentality is like, I don't totally agree that the business model of selling pretty pictures and then making money on yelling at people to execute those pretty pictures is really the best business model. So the architects who build mentality is more, let's put our money where our mouth is. We're not just going to draw it. We're going to have to build it. So Dave is always a lot of energy. And then Kai Miami came on, and Kai works with Builder Funnel, and AI, just brilliant mind. He came and spoke at a NARI event, and then I kept in touch with him and follow him on LinkedIn, and he's always just doing incredible stuff. So we talked through, a lot of the things that he's working on in Claude on a regular basis. I remember my mom watched this episode and she's like, great episode. Didn't understand a single word of it, but it was really cool. And, it's always fun. I like to think that everyone that we have on is pretty forward thinking, and the people like Kai and Yuhan in the AI space, and Michael Anschel for that matter, are really, really fun to have on. Speaking on that note, Jake Harris was also on, and Jake is a builder remodeler, as well as a fintech founder of Build Wallet. So he is continuing to build tools to help builders process and document money flows between clients, generals, and subs. And as you see on his shirt, the base of it is trust. It's really understanding that this money is there to fund the project and creating mechanisms of transparency that that makes that work. So Jake's a great guy, a fellow North Carolina resident, lives down the street, and we get together and continue to chat through all this. Oh man, then my buddy Peter came on. Peter and I were classmates at Virginia Tech architecture, and Peter is with HKS now, I believe. And he drove a lot of integrated project delivery, building information modeling aspects of firms and construction companies that he's worked with, and then currently they're applying a lot of that to some pretty unbelievable stadium designs, and they're doing a lot of sports development. So really cool to hear what Peter's been up to, and great to reconnect with him. All right, then Jeff Ford came on. A lot of folks know Jeff in our industry. Jeff is, I would call, a thought leader. He'd probably argue against that, but when he speaks, people listen. He is an architect builder up there in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I would say he has an unbelievable mentality to get better every day and continuous improvement, and he's always learning. And Jeff is an unbelievable designer, business owner, advocate for systems and processes, loves thinking ahead on marketing, and he loves integrating new technologies. So there's always a lot to unpack with Jeff, and really great, really great that he came on. All right, then we mixed it up a little bit. So Nick Raffini. So Nick is a friend of ours that I haven't seen probably since one of my wife's friends' weddings over a decade ago. Nick is a drummer slash his family was restaurateurs, and then he was a massive podcaster in the drum world. And now he's applying everything that he's learned from all of these industries in the world of marketing and experience. And the idea of marketing through experience. So it's really fun to hear his perspectives when you take all these things of hospitality, the arts, the experience of the arts, as well as the world of podcasting and bring it all together to help improve overall experiences. And Nick was a lot of fun, and a lot of really cool takeaways from all of those things coming together. All right, then the Carolina Hurricanes won the Stanley Cup championship. They won the cup and had to have something hockey related. So my boys' hockey coach came on, Matt Cross. Matt is an unbelievable human, a reasonably decent coach. Just kidding, he's a great coach. And he is a cancer survivor, and so he runs both hockey training here in Raleigh, North Carolina, as well as the Raleigh Testicular Cancer Foundation. We didn't dig as much into the world of nonprofit, and I want to have him on again, and we can dig into that. That episode was definitely highly focused on how to run a team, right? And thinking about running a team of 14-year-olds versus running a team of adults. Are they really that different, And how you help your players improve, how you help your players build trust and respect amongst each other, right? All the intangibles. So it was a really, really fun hockey related that translates to life conversation. And Matt was great because he had like literally 10 minutes to prepare because he missed my text message about it. And he's like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. And a lot of these folks that I have on don't like to show up unprepared. They always want to be prepared. And I say, well, that defeats the whole point of the show. They're like, what are you going to ask me? Like, I can't tell you. Then Glenn Dahl came on. So Glenn Dahl is a Metronomics coach and implementer, which is a business operating system that also brings in, a level of strategy and planning. We got to know each other at a NARI event this spring, and he's coming to Chicago to speak next month to our local NARI group, do several different workshops. But Glenn has been a CEO, has trained CEOs, and it's really great to hear his perspective on strategies for growth, uh, speed bumps to growth. What is growth? You know, all those different things, and you know, running it in a corporate mindset. Very cool. Okay, Will's preview. I guess he was only on mobile, so I'll just scroll down to Will. So Will and I went to high school together. Will went to University of Virginia and then to Harvard Business School for grad school. He was a founder of Car Lots, which then went public and I believe was sold. And now he has a new company that he's founding in the home space called Henry Homes. So it was really fun to talk to him from a perspective of an entrepreneur that's done it already, and then how he's applying that to the new company and the challenges with that in the world of the home space. So it was really fun to connect with Will and make sure you check out Henry Homes. It's fascinating. It's very cool. All right, then Jordan came on. We kept it going on the world of technology and AI, and Jordan is a founder of BizZen, and so they are integrating AI tools to streamline and automate the back end of what we do. So I think while the systems set us free in terms of creativity, he's also looking at it as, you know, the AI can make those systems more efficient and effective. So just another brilliant brain, another one that I believe my mom said that was a great episode, but didn't understand a word of it. Oh man. And then I guess this was just 2 weeks ago, we had our buddy Dave Payne on, or 3 weeks ago. Dave's the owner founder of Payne and Tompkins, and just a brilliant entrepreneurial business mind, and just a great person. And so it was really fun to have him on. Felt very exclusive. That was his first podcast ever. He typically says no, and he said, let's do this. And it was live. And he was awesome. It was really great to kind of hear his journey, what he's learned, where he spends his energy, you know, in the world of growing companies and building out other companies. Built out a cabinet company. They, you know, look at bringing on, you know, buying out towel companies, things of that nature. So he's always looking for opportunities to add other spokes to the wheel that is driven by Payne and Tompkins design build. Very cool. All right, and we're almost over, but Lance Psycho came on 2 weeks ago. Lance is just an awesome dude, an incredible podcaster as well. Does really beautiful design, build, and development work in Boulder, Colorado. Has just great insights on the profession, entrepreneurialism, and kind of the role that architects can play better in the world of construction. So it was really cool just to hear that perspective, as well as, you know, his experience in building his podcast, which I think he said it has over 1 million downloads now. I think we're at like 200. So we'll see. It's just been 1 year though. And then last but not least, we had George Hodges Fulton on last week for episode 49. George was very kind to come on the show. He definitely is one that likes to prepare, and I refuse to allow him to. And George is Livco's Pinnacle, which is an EOS type system, and implementer, and our business coach. So we talked a lot about the ideas of growth. I think the main theme topic that came out was certainly the systems set you free. So it was really, really cool. And that brings us to this episode. And I did it. That was probably the most boring episode ever, just listening to me talk through all of these things, but I just wanted to do something. So whether or not somebody watches it or not, at least there's kind of a cool documentation of the first 49. So we're going to kick it back up next week. Season 2 is going to start with episode 51. Really excited. Chip Doyle is going to come on the show. He is a Sandler sales trainer. I think a retired Sandler sales trainer for the most part. He's actually working with our team right now. So directly after our team session, we're going straight into LivLive. So hopefully we haven't burned him out too badly on that. He also co-wrote the book, Selling to Homeowners the Sandler Way, which are some really incredible tools, and I would say more a philosophy and a method of thinking, more than, how to sell. So it's going to be really fun. Chip is a great guy. He's very smart, very easy to talk to, and we'll probably end up talking about music more than sales, but we'll see. But that's it, guys. Thank you for tuning in. This has been a lot of fun. We will keep it going until you guys tell me to stop, and not this show, but I mean the show as a whole. And then I will say, if anybody would like to be on the show, a lot of the guests that I have now, I used to reach out to people. Now I have more and more people asking, hey, I'd love to come on the show. So I'm always happy to talk to interesting people. Right now, we kind of book out a month or so in advance, but it's a lot of fun. It's a little scary at times, but it's all good. Again, thank you guys for watching, and be sure to send me comments or anything else, and we'll take it from there. Thank you.